Every level of anime. Explain. Every anime has its fans, it has its fan base, but does that mean that every anime is good?
レベル1トラッシュ
At level 1, the animation has absolutely no motion, the proportions are all over the place, and the CGI probably looks like a college student's first time using Blender. I'm talking about shows like X-Arm, Berserk 2016, and having an anime with bad animation is like trying to eat cereal with water. Yes, the writing and plot are also important, but when we're talking about the medium of anime and comparing them at different levels, there's a certain level of quality that needs to be met.
What? What is this?
Shows like Seven Deadly Sins are the perfect example of what bad animation can do to ruin a show. The first season was aight for a shonen, but the following seasons are just hilariously bad.
What? There's no way you're passing this up as...
Obviously, trash anime comes in all sorts of shapes and sizes. If the story was adapted from a generic isekai web novel and the female characters all have double Ds, immediate trash status. The most generic isekai you've ever watched are at this level: In Another World with My Smartphone, Death Parade Rhapsody, Isekai Cheat Magician. We're talking about shows where the plot is laughably bad, and sometimes you can't help but watch like a car accident gone wrong. School Days is a perfect example of this, where you have to sit through episode after episode of the main character just cheating on every single woman he gets with, only to be blessed with one of the craziest endings in all of anime, where he kinda gets what he deserves. And to be fair, exploding in a dumpster fire at the very end is unique, it's just uniquely trash.
レベル2バッド
Level 2 anime have mainly cleaned up their animation. It's no longer looking like a PowerPoint presentation, but that's a pretty easy bar to pass for most shows. So at this level, the plot is usually where it's faltering. Shows like Akame ga Kill are the epitome of this level. Starts out really fun, but quickly devolves into gooner bait and just an unhealthy dose of edge. It's the kind of edge where every character is gonna trauma dump to the viewer right before they die. The show was insane to me when I was like 12, but looking at it now, does not hold up. Fairy Tail, also pretty bad. Every arc is like about to introduce a cool new character or new powers, only for Natsu to slap the villain in the face with the power of friendship. Spamming this trope like a bodybuilder abusing his PEDs doesn't get me engaged for future fights. The viewer eventually becomes desensitized to zero stakes and they just become meaningless. And at this level, there's another subset of anime that I would call the guilty pleasure. We're talking about anime where you gotta be careful when and where you're watching it. If your mom comes through the door when that fan service flashbangs you, it's the kind of anime where you can't tell your friends that you watch it. I'm talking Food Wars, High School DxD, Sword Art Online.
Gotta love that.
Seriously, like what was going on in Elfham Online? That's some Roblox level degeneracy over there. And that's not to say that fan service automatically makes an anime bad. It's just that if it's poorly executed or it's ham-fisted in a really weird way that detracts from the overall viewing experience, then it's a problem. Overall, level 2 anime just lack a certain amount of depth and themes to their plot and characters. If your favorite show is at this level, don't take it too personally, because I'm about to offend you even more with the next one.
レベル3ミッド
Mid is an interesting word now because people nowadays are using it to describe so many different experiences, ranging from the worst anime you've ever seen to some of the greatest stuff. When I was deciding what anime really belong in mid, I realized that I need to look at a series in its entirety. Animation, dialogue, plot development, sound design, character writing, everything. And unfortunately, when you average a 700 plus episode anime like Naruto that's bloated with 40% filler, you get a mid show. Now hold on Itachi fan 69, let me explain. Naruto as a whole is squarely in the upper echelons of mid, I'll give you that. And don't get me wrong, the show does command your attention during certain fights. Rock Lee versus Gaara, Kakashi versus Obito, Sasuke versus Itachi. But watching an anime start to finish isn't like watching an AMV. It's not just the coolest fights that play while Linkin Park is going crazy in the background, although admittedly that is pretty sick. Pacing is incredibly important to ensure that a viewer's time isn't wasted from getting to point A to point B. I say this because compared to manga, anime should be the better experience on paper. You get a whole new dimension with moving visuals and audio. But if reading the manga is the superior choice for the majority of the series, then that adaptation failed somewhere. And that's not to say that decent pacing will save you from the mid label. Romances like Toradora, which is decent for a 2000s era rom-com, but ultimately kind of misses the mark when it comes to overall side character drama and real emotional depth, belongs here. Isekai Like I Was Reincarnated as a Slime is fun, you know, the show has some cool battles, but there's a lot of screen time wasted with side characters we don't care about, and meetings that just last way too long. For that reason, level 3 is where a lot of anime that will ever come out belong. And if some of these shows got remakes, I think they could easily jump higher.
レベル4グッド
At this tier, the animation quality is 100% solid. It's usually pretty consistent, it pops off when it needs to. I say generally because I did put One Piece at this level. Yeah, even some of the greatest moments in anime history can't save you from dog water pacing. One Piece filler isn't nearly as bad as Naruto though, so I did bump it up a level, but if you need a fan project like One Piece to fix the plot, you've lost the plot. Shows at this level have a few key characteristics. You can expect a decent amount of emotional depth, perhaps even some amazing character moments that stick with you, but it is missing, you know, a truly standout plot or fun roster of characters to elevate it to that next level. A great example of this would be Demon Slayer. Ufotable did an amazing job with consistent pacing and action sequences, but let's be honest, the characters in this series range from decent to forgettable to downright horrible. I mean, God forbid Zenitsu's on the screen for more than half a second.
He's annoying right now.
My Hero Academia has some pretty similar vibes. Great action, fun fights, sometimes has some pretty obnoxious characters and just boring in-between arcs that feel like filler. Romances like Horimiya stand out here due to their unique pacing of the relationship, but again, still kind of lacks interesting side characters, but I'd say still better than Toradora. Isekai like Konosuba fit here perfectly. Decent animation, great comedy, but pretty repetitive. Really, the only thing holding back anime at level 4 is some sort of general production flaw, or it's missing a really unique plot and characters. With those issues solved, these anime could easily transcend to the next level.
レベル5グレート
At this level, the production quality is now undeniable. These shows look damn good, but they don't just boast a high level of animation talent, they also have clear themes that are served through an interesting plot and meaningful characters. Mushoku Tensei is here as one of the isekai greats, with amazing fight sequences and world building. Character writing also pretty decent. I have a few problems with it, but overall pretty good. I mean, they even made a whole ass fantasy language just for the immersion. In most anime, if the voice actor starts speaking English, I feel like I'm transported into another world.
Hello, everyone!
Jujutsu Kaisen is at this level due to its pretty solid first season, but mainly due to its jaw-dropping second season and movie. I genuinely don't think I've seen that many back-to-back episodes with consistently great fights. Even then, the show was still somewhat held back due to MAPPA's insanely rushed release schedule, and if you watch the extended version of that Sukuna vs Maharaga fight, you'll know exactly what I mean. One Punch Man Season 1 is at this level. Great comedy, writing, and insane animation by some of the best in the industry. Romance anime at this level include absolute tearjerkers like Clannad, which is exceptional due to its second season, and if that's all we were looking at, I would put that at level 7, but you do kind of need that first season, and the first season is a little more lackluster. At level 5, we see fantasy anime like Dungeon Meshi for its unique plot, intricate world building, and fun characters that all come together to just feel like a really unique D&D campaign. Not to mention the amazing trigger animation that accompanies it, just mwah. Romances like Nana are up here, really only held back because it ends on a pretty unsatisfying note, and that's my main gripe with anime at level 5. They are pretty open-ended in nature. Most of these anime don't have real endings, or they need another season to continue the story.
レベル6エサプショナ
At this level, these shows are insanely high quality and clearly in a league of their own. And as I mentioned before, they usually have some sort of conclusive ending. Why is an ending important to an anime? Well, it's what the entire show is leading up to. Yes, the journey is more important than the destination, but if a show lacks any kind of narrative conclusion, it's just simply unsatisfying. It doesn't feel good. Hunter x Hunter is a great example of a level 6 anime, boasting one of the most intricate power systems, amazing characters, and one of the best shonen arcs ever created. I almost put this at level 7, but there's just a few small pacing issues I have with the Chimera Ant arc, but overall, still very exceptional show. Movies like Your Name are at this level with incredible animation, an amazing soundtrack, and relatable characters. There are some plot holes, and rewatching it makes you feel like the ending is a little bit unsatisfying, but still very, very fun. Movies like A Silent Voice are at this level for the extremely deep and personal themes explored, Kill Annie's incredible animation carries it a long way, but not enough to escape its overall pacing issues when you compare it to the manga. Psychological thrillers like Death Note are at level 6, only really faltering due to a few hiccups in the story towards the latter half, but again, still managed to deliver an amazing ride throughout. And Frieren is one of the few shows without a solid ending that I put at level 6, due to the insane production quality, deep themes that hit you from episode 1, and a commitment to a cinematic vision for almost every single shot in the show. And yes, that foot shot was very intentional and necessary to the show. How dare you suggest otherwise? But unfortunately, anime at this level just don't manage to reach their full potential, have more seasons to come, or just have some kind of small issue, which is unfortunate because if those anime had just one thing, they could easily ascend to.
レベル7マスターピース
At level 7, you already expect that the production quality is nothing less than stellar. The animation is expressive and intentional, the music perfectly accompanies the emotions of that scene. Not only that, anime masterpieces have some of the best stories and characters ever seen in fiction. It's the kind of show that transcends anime as a medium and cracks into the mainstream as a certified classic. And they also somehow manage to do all of this while ending on a poignant note. These are nearly perfect anime, the best you will ever see. Once you watch a masterpiece of an anime, you'll have a hole in your heart that can only be filled by rewatching it a year later. On the lower end of this level, we have romance anime like Kaguya-sama for its genuinely refreshing comedy and character drama that actually resolves by season 3 with a good romance ending. Action anime like Attack on Titan, which only gets better with more rewatches, not to mention Hiroyuki Sawano's insane soundtrack. Moving up, we see anime like Mob Psycho 100 and Gurren Lagann present. These kind of shows demand your respect and attention throughout their most climactic moments while still being concise and leaving a lasting impression. Psychological thrillers that examine the human condition like Monster are up here. And of course, we expect to see anime like Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, the absolute GOAT of shonen anime, to be here. It's got everything: well-written characters, an entrancing plot, amazing voice acting, deep ideas and themes, a unique power system, and of course, animation by Peak Madhouse. I mean, what more could you ask for? You know, this is the kind of caliber of anime that you see at level 7. I'm talking about shows like Cowboy Bebop, directed by the legendary Shinichiro Watanabe and filled to the brim with messages that still stick with me to this day, accompanied by Yoko Kanno's insane jazz soundtrack that will just play over the smoothest fight sequences you've ever witnessed. Come on now.
Tell me what you're doing here.
Let's flip a coin. Heads I tell you, tails we go out on a date.
It's at this level that you start to recognize the director. You start realizing just how much they're contributing to a project and its cinematic vision. Satoshi Kon's work like Perfect Blue, Millennium Actress are up here. My favorite isekai ever made, Spirited Away. Huh? Think about it. Think about it, right? It's an isekai, you know, Chihiro's getting trapped in another world. Huh? These anime are the cream of the crop. If you want to dive into the best that anime has to offer, watch these first, and then watch them again. Trust me, you'll enjoy it. Before I end the video, I just want to say I tried to be as objective as possible with these 7 levels of anime quality. Death Note is actually my favorite anime of all time, but I still put it at level 6 because it does have noticeable issues. Ultimately, if a show or series makes you feel something and entertains you, that's all that really matters at the end of the day. And also, this video was inspired by Dupley's video on levels of rapping, so go check out his video if you haven't seen it. But that's going to be it. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and peace.